Hi, I'm Beth Brown and I am counsel in the pensions group at Mayer Brown. Welcome to the 9th episode of our monthly series. In these episodes, we cover different topics each month, providing an overview of the issues faced by pension industry practitioners and offering some practical insight. The time spent listening to these episodes can count towards solicitors' continuing competence and PMI CPD requirements. Please do contact us if you require further information. Contact information will be provided at the end. All the episodes are available on our Mayer Brown YouTube channel, as well as iTunes, Google Play and Yahoo. You can also subscribe to this channel so that new episodes are shown automatically in your subscription feed. In this episode, we will be talking about the changes announced in the 2020 budget to the tapered annual allowance that will come into effect on the 6th of April this year, so will apply from the 2020-2021 tax year onwards. The changes aim to rectify what many have seen as one of the long-standing problems with the pension tax relief system. In this episode, I will cover 1. The background to the changes, 2. The actual changes made, and 3. The impact of these changes. So I'll start briefly with explaining the background to these changes. In summary, the tapered annual allowance gradually reduces the annual allowance, being the amount of contributions that a person can pay to a pension scheme and benefit from tax relief, which is available to high earners. The standard annual allowance is currently £40,000. However, if a person's annual threshold income, which is essentially the sum of all pre-tax income that a person earns, including their salary and bonuses, but excluding their pension contributions, is over £110,000, and their annual adjusted income, which is essentially their threshold income plus all their pension contributions, is over £150,000, then their annual allowance is subject to tapering. If a person is subject to the tapered annual allowance, for every £2 that they earn above that £150,000, the annual allowance will reduce by £1. The reduced annual allowance a person can have will not go below £10,000. So why has this been controversial? For doctors in the NHS pension scheme, the introduction of this tapered annual allowance has led to them actually having to pay higher amounts of tax to remain in the NHS pension scheme. As such, the British Medical Association has been campaigning to remove the annual allowance restrictions for defined benefit schemes. The general thinking has been that this tax rule has led to doctors cutting their hours or leaving the pension scheme or retiring early just to avoid its impact. This reduces the doctors available for the public, which is particularly relevant in light of the current COVID-19 pandemic. So under the changes announced in the 2020 budget, the two tapered annual allowance thresholds will each increase by £90,000. This means that the threshold income threshold will go up to £200,000 and the adjusted income threshold will go up to £240,000. In addition, the lowest annual allowance a person can have will be £4,000 rather than £10,000. So in practice, this means that for every £2 a person earns above £240,000, their annual allowance will reduce by £1 down to £4,000. From an NHS perspective, the Chancellor has said that this change should result in 98% of consultants and 96% of GPs no longer being affected by the tapered annual allowance, although naturally it will impact many non-NHS workers as well. The increased thresholds will be welcome news to a significant number of individuals who are currently affected by the tapered annual allowance, notably NHS doctors, but there will also be a significant number of people caught by it. In addition to this, some people will be worse off due to the ability for their annual allowance to now decrease to £4,000 instead of stopping at £10,000. There was hope from some within the pensions industry that the complex tapering system would be axed in its entirety, but this has not materialised. More generally, there have been calls on the government to axe or suspend the annual allowance altogether to allow people to rebuild their pots which may have been decimated by the recent market falls. No doubt the government will be monitoring the impact of these changes and considering the annual allowance regime more generally, with the potential for further reform to follow in the future, although I'm pretty sure the government is fairly busy on other matters at the moment. Please feel free to email me with any comments or questions on the episode to bbrown@mayorbrown.com. This episode is an overview of the law in this area, and how the law will apply in any particular case will depend on the individual circumstances. Please therefore remember to seek legal advice on your particular circumstances. Thanks for listening, and please stay safe.